The airport was alive with quiet confidence. Not the noisy kind, but the soft clicks of designer shoes, the low hum of private phone calls, and the subtle glances of people who were used to being important. Gate 27. Aerolux Flight 712. New York to London. Among the crowd stood a black woman, early 40s, tall, graceful, calm. Her posture carried authority but not arrogance. Beside her stood her daughter, around 17. Sharp eyes, natural confidence, the kind that didn't beg for attention but never bowed either. They spoke softly to each other. "No rush," the mother said gently. "We board when they call." The daughter smiled. "I know, Mom." When business class boarding was announced, they stepped forward. The gate agents scanned their passes, a pause, then a forced smile. "Enjoy your flight," the agent said, slightly surprised. The daughter noticed it. She always noticed things like that. They entered the aircraft. Luxury wrapped around them instantly, cream leather seats, warm lighting, quiet jazz music. Their seats were clear on the boarding passes, 2A and 2 billion, business class. Front cabin, but as they reached row 2, someone was already sitting there. "You're in the wrong place." A white man in his late 50s leaned back comfortably in 2A next to him. His wife flipped through a magazine in 2 billion. The daughter stopped politely. "Excuse me," she said, calm and respectful. "I believe these are our seats." The man didn't even look up, he laughed. "Business class." He finally glanced at her head to toe, then at her mother. "You must be joking," the wife smirked. "Economy is behind the wings, sweetheart." A few nearby passengers turned their heads. The daughter raised her boarding pass slightly. "No mistake," she said. "Seats 2A and 2 billion. The man sighed dramatically. "This airline is getting ridiculous," he muttered. "Letting anyone walk in here." That word, anyone, hit harder than a slap. The mother stepped forward. "There's no need for disrespect," she said calmly. "These are our assigned seats." Right then, a flight attendant appeared. "What seems to be the issue?" she asked. The man spoke first. "They're confused," he said casually. "They think they belong in business class." The attendant looked at the mother and daughter, not at the boarding passes, not at the seat numbers, at them. Her smile faded. "Ma'am," she said coolly, "business class tickets are usually very expensive." The daughter clenched her jaw. "Yes," she said, "that's why we bought them." The attendant raised an eyebrow. "I'll need you to step aside while I confirm this." She turned to the white couple. "Please remain seated." The message was clear. The mother and daughter were asked to move away from seats they had paid for. Other passengers watched. No one spoke. As the mother stepped back, she whispered to her daughter, "Stay calm, power doesn't shout." The daughter nodded, but her eyes burned. Because this wasn't about seats anymore. It was about who they thought deserved them. The aircraft doors closed with a dull, final thud. A sound that usually meant safety, but today it felt like a lock snapping shut. The mother and daughter stood near the galley, still holding their boarding passes. A flight attendant pointed toward a small fold-down jump seat near the crew area. "You can wait there," she said. Her tone wasn't angry, it was worse. It was dismissive. The daughter sat down slowly. The seat was narrow, cold, nothing like the wide leather seats they had paid for. Business class passengers sipped champagne just a few feet away. Laughter, comfort, privilege. The white man from seat 2A leaned toward his wife and whispered loudly, "See, knew they didn't belong." The wife chuckled. The daughter heard every word. Her hands rested on her lap, clenched so tightly her nails dug into her skin. The mother stood beside her, silent, not weak, not scared, silent by choice. A junior flight attendant passed by with a tray of drinks. She stopped in front of the white couple. "Champagne or sparkling water, sir?" "Champagne," he said smugly. The attendant poured carefully, smiling. The daughter raised her hand. "Excuse me," she said calmly. "May I have water, please?" The attendant looked at her, then looked away. "I'm only serving business class right now," the daughter swallowed. "I am business class." The attendant sighed. "Let me finish my service," she replied. "I'll get back to you if I can." She never did. Minutes passed. The plane climbed higher into the sky, so did the humiliation. A nearby passenger, a middle-aged woman, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Silence won. It always did. Words that cut deeper than knives. As turbulence shook the cabin lightly, the daughter finally stood. She walked calmly toward the purser's station. "I'd like to speak to whoever is in charge," she said politely. The purser, a tall man with silver hair, turned around. "What is it now?" he asked. The daughter didn't flinch. "We were removed from our assigned seats," she said, "and your crew has been speaking to us disrespectfully." The purser crossed his arms. "Ma'am, raising your voice won't help." "I'm not raising my voice," she replied. "I'm asking for fairness." The purser leaned closer. "Let me be very clear," he whispered. "This cabin is for premium passengers." The mother stepped forward. "My daughter is a premium passenger." The purser smiled thinly. "Then why are you dressed like that?" he asked. The air froze. The daughter felt something snap inside her. "So now clothes decide worth?" she asked. The purser straightened. "Watch your tone," he said, "or I'll involve the captain." The white man laughed again from his seat. "Good luck with that," he said. "Captain won't listen to them." The daughter turned slowly, looked at him, then looked back at the purser. "Call the captain," she said quietly. The purser hesitated, then nodded. "Fine," he said, "but don't say I didn't warn you." He turned and walked toward the cockpit. The mother placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Remember," she whispered, "power doesn't scream, it waits." The daughter nodded, but her eyes no longer showed patience. They showed certainty, because she knew something none of them did, and soon the captain would make the biggest mistake of his career. The cockpit door opened. A tall man stepped out. Captain Richard Hale, 15 years of flying wide-body aircraft, a reputation for being firm, decisive, never questioned. The cabin fell quiet. Passengers straightened in their seats. Crew members stood alert. "What's going on here?" the captain asked. The purser spoke immediately. "These passengers are being disruptive," he said, pointing at the mother and daughter. "They're refusing crew instructions and insisting on seats that aren't assigned to them." The captain's eyes moved to the daughter. "Cold, brief judging, is that true?" he asked. The daughter inhaled slowly. "No, Captain," she said clearly. "We were removed from our paid seats because other passengers refused to move." The white man leaned forward eagerly. "She's lying," he said. "They tried to force us out." The captain turned toward him instantly. "Sir, thank you," he said politely, then back to the daughter. "Ma'am," the captain said, voice firm, "this flight is full. I will not tolerate disruption." The mother stepped forward. "Captain," she said calmly, "with respect, may I show you our boarding passes?" The captain waved his hand. "I don't need to see them," he said. "My crew has already explained the situation." The daughter's jaw tightened. "So you've decided without checking?" she asked. A murmur rippled through the cabin. The captain's expression hardened. "Watch your tone," he warned. "This is my aircraft." The daughter met his gaze. "And those are our seats." Silence. The captain straightened his shoulders. "You are guests on this flight," he said. "Act accordingly." The mother whispered softly. "Richard, don't do this." The captain frowned. "How do you know my name?" She didn't answer. With a threat at 35,000 feet, the captain turned to the purser. "Document this," he said. "If they continue, we'll notify ground security." The daughter felt every eye on her. Her heartbeat was steady, not fear, resolve. "So this is how your airline treats people?" she asked quietly. The captain scoffed. "My airline?" he repeated. "Yes," she said. The white woman from 2 billion laughed openly now. "Unbelievable," she said. "The audacity." The captain pointed toward the back of the plane. "If you do not comply," he said, "you will be escorted off upon landing." The word escorted echoed. The daughter took a step forward. "Captain," she said, "before you make threats, you should check the manifest." The captain smiled coldly. "I am the manifest," he said. The mother closed her eyes briefly, then opened them. "Last chance," she said softly. The captain ignored her. "Purser," he said, "escort them away from the front cabin." That was the moment. The daughter reached into her bag, not in panic, in certainty. She pulled out her phone, unlocked it, and said words that would soon freeze this aircraft midair. "Captain Hale," she said clearly, "my name is Amara Johnson." The captain smirked. "So?" Amara raised her phone. "One call," she said. "One system check." Her finger hovered over the screen. "You still want to proceed?" The cabin held its breath. "My name is Amara Johnson." The words didn't sound loud. They didn't need to. They cut through the cabin like a blade. The captain stared at her for a second longer than necessary. Then he laughed. A short, uncomfortable laugh. "That means nothing to me," Captain Hale said. "This conversation is over." Amara didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She simply turned her phone screen toward him. On it was a secure airline interface, not an app passengers ever saw. The purser leaned in slightly. His face changed. What is that?" he whispered. Amara tapped once. A soft beep echoed. Inside the cockpit a warning tone sounded. The first officer looked up. "Captain," he said slowly, "we just received a priority system ping." The captain frowned and turned toward the cockpit. "What kind of ping?" The first officer swallowed. "Level 1, he replied. "Ownership verification." The captain's smile disappeared. Back in the cabin, Amara spoke again, still calm. "I didn't want to do this mid-flight," she said. "But you left me no choice." The white man in seat 2A shifted uncomfortably. "What is this nonsense?" he muttered. The cockpit door opened again. This time the captain stepped out different, less confident, more cautious. "Miss Johnson," he said carefully, "may I speak with you privately?" Amara shook her head. "No," she replied. "You embarrassed us publicly. You can hear the truth publicly." A ripple moved through the passengers. The mother finally spoke again. Her voice was low, controlled. "Richard," she said, "do you remember Aerolux's first aircraft?" The captain froze. "Tail number AL-1, she continued, least falling apart. "You were a junior co-pilot then." The captain's face went pale. "That's impossible," he whispered. Amara stepped forward. "My mother didn't just start this airline," she said. "She built it. I inherited her shares last year." She paused. "I am the majority owner of Aerolux Airlines." Silence, pure heavy silence. The announcement. The captain looked around, at the passengers, at the crew, at the 2 white passengers who now avoided eye contact. His throat tightened. He reached for the intercom. The cabin lights seemed brighter. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice shaking, "I need to make a formal announcement." Every passenger stopped breathing. I want to apologize, he continued, to Miss Amara Johnson and her mother. The white woman's mouth fell open. The man whispered, "No, no way," the captain swallowed. "Miss Johnson is the owner of this airline," gasps erupted. Phones came out instantly, whispers exploded across the cabin. "Oh my God, that's her! We watched this happen," the captain continued, forced but honest. "What occurred today does not represent our values," Amara interrupted gently. "Actually," she said, "it does until it's corrected." She turned to the white couple. "Stand up," she said. They hesitated. "Now," she added. Slowly they stood. "These seats," Amara said, "belong to passengers who paid for them." She looked at the flight attendant. "You removed us without verification," she said. "Why?" The attendant couldn't speak. Tears filled her eyes. I assumed that," Amara said firmly, "is the problem." She turned to the purser. "You threatened us," she said. "Why?" He lowered his head. "I was wrong." Amara nodded once. "Captain," she said, "return our seats." The captain stepped aside immediately. "Yes, ma'am." As Amara and her mother walked back to 2A and 2 billion, the entire business class stood. Some clapped, some looked ashamed, some couldn't meet their eyes. The white couple were escorted to the back. No arguments, no excuses, just consequences. Amara sat down calmly, buckled her seatbelt, and whispered to her mother, "This isn't over." The aircraft felt different now, quieter, heavier. As Amara and her mother settled back into 2A and 2 billion, no one dared to speak loudly anymore. The flight attendant who had dismissed them stood frozen near the galley. The purser wiped sweat from his forehead. The captain remained standing, silent, humiliated. Amara turned to him calmly. "Captain Hale," she said, "please return to the cockpit." He nodded immediately. "Yes, Miss Johnson." As he walked away, the first officer whispered something to him. The captain's shoulders slumped. Minutes later, Amara pressed the call button. A different flight attendant approached, nervous, respectful. "Yes, Miss Johnson? I'd like a full incident report prepared before landing," Amara said. "Crew behavior, passenger misconduct, everything." "Yes, ma'am." She turned to her mother. "You warned them," Amara said quietly. Her mother smiled faintly. "They chose not to listen." Behind them, the white man who had mocked them earlier sat in economy now, red-faced, silent, humiliated in front of strangers. His wife stared at the floor. No laughter now. No confidence, only shame. Some passengers whispered, "Did you see how they treated her? That could have been anyone." "I didn't say anything." Those words hung heavier than turbulence. Part 5 billion. After landing, nothing was the same. When the plane landed in London, security was already waiting. Not for Amara, for the crew. The captain was escorted aside, so was the purser, so were the attendants involved. Passengers recorded everything. By the time Amara stepped into the terminal, the video was already online. Black girl humiliated on business class flight, then reveals she owns the airline. Millions of views within hours. The captain was suspended, the purser was terminated, 2 attendants were placed under investigation, the white couple were banned from Aerolux flights permanently that evening. Aerolux released an official statement. "We failed today. We apologize to Miss Amara Johnson, her mother, and every passenger who witnessed injustice." But Amara wasn't finished. The next morning she stood before the media, calm, composed, powerful. "I didn't reveal who I was to gain respect," she said. "I revealed it to expose a system that only respects power." She paused. My question is simple. How many people are mistreated because they don't own the airline? Silence followed. Then applause. Her mother watched from the side, proud. As Amara walked away, a reporter asked, "Will this change Aerolux?" Amara stopped, turned. "Yes," she said, "because from today forward respect is not optional. The end moral: you don't need to look powerful to deserve respect. And those who judge by appearance often bow to truth too late."